that Brandon just laid on you. Now you don't get it, just over your heads. Alright, and then this next act is the guy who plays the sounds that gets the girls' panties on the ground and spins the
yeah!
to stimulate their butts. Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Dowling.
You give me one too, Greg.
Thank you very much. As Chris just alluded to, I spend most of my time being a strip club DJ. It's a fun gig. I can't complain too much about it. You know, nobody wants to hear me complain about going to a job over at the strip club. I had a buddy for years who worked as a fisherman. He would take people fishing. You know, he would drag them out, get up 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning, get on a cold boat, deal with cutting a bunch of bait, and going out fishing all day for 8 hours at a time, come home and clean the boat. The only thing that we had in common to talk about our jobs is our money would come home smelling the same way. Probably the worst part about job is it's got to be the terrible music that I'm constantly forced to play. I constantly, if I have to play another Nickelback song, I'm going to just burn out my eardrum. Nickelback is the worst band in the world. If you have a Nickelback CD in your car right now, and you're one of those people that loves Nickelback, well, you're one of two people. I fucking hate you, by the way. But you're one of two people. You're either a frat boy from the Sigma Chi rapist fraternity, or you're a steroid-infused meathead who probably would be naked if they stopped making Ed Hardy shirts and Affliction shirts. And you're all terrible. I hope that Nickelback goes on tour with Creed and Papa Roach, and the plane crashes into a bus carrying Drake. Drake is by far the worst rapper ever. First off, much like Nickelback, he's Canadian. He's Canadian. You can't be hard and be Canadian. You can't say something like, "Have some coke, eh?" That's it. You can't be hard and be Canadian. You just can't. And you got to start. He was an actor on a kids show, pretty much, called Degrassi, playing a heel chair down. Like, he's probably Shakespearean trained, and now he's a rapper. You know, and my problem with hip hop in general is just so many of these guys, like Jay-Z has owned his own record label for 17 years. 17 years. How are you going to rap about selling drugs? At this point, it's just not believable. But the one thing I will say about Jay-Z, that guy can sell anything to the people. Anything at all. If I was him, I'd start fucking around with him. I would open up barbecue joints. I would call them Skeet. I would start selling my own malt liquor.
Hey!
Yeah. /energy drink. And I would just advertise it by putting in my songs. I want my rapper buddies to put in their songs too, so I'd have to name it something that would rhyme really easy. I'd probably go with like Malelani. That would probably work pretty well in a rap song. It's racist in Malelani. I'm not going to say there's not perks to my job. I have a pretty good gig, you know. There's a lot of beautiful women around all the time. Most of them very easy women. You know, when you first get the job, they tell you, oh, no dipping your pen in the company. But sometimes it's kind of hard to resist. The first week I started working in strip clubs, I managed to take home and go to a girl. It was going all well. We went out, we had a good time, got really hammered, drank some mind erasers, drank some rum, tequila, all kinds of goodness. Got home, got back to her house, moved around and everything, fell asleep for the night. She had this beautiful bed set up, canopy and everything. Probably spent thousands of dollars on it. And then in the middle of the night, apparently the UN of booze that I poured into my stomach decided they didn't want to agree with me. I don't know if Jose Cuervo pulled a knife or what exactly happened, but whatever resulted in me just projectile vomiting all over her bedspread everywhere. And she's just completely unconscious, totally out of it, and doesn't wake up from it. So I'm hocking all over everything in her room. And I panicked. You know, I've only known this girl a week. I'm not supposed to be fooling around with the girls and lose my job over this. She's going to be all upset with me. I don't know what to do. Should I just leave? Should I get out of here? Then I had the brilliant idea. As I was trying to wake her up gently. She wasn't waking up, so I shook her a little harder because I felt terrible. Still didn't wake up. So I rolled her over onto my side of the bed. Get back into her nice clean side of the bed and fall asleep for the rest of the evening. I woke up a little before in the morning and shook her awake and was like, oh my God, are you okay? Are you feeling any better? Can I get you a glass of water or anything? Chivalrous. That's the key in the strip club. That's the key. I ended up dating her for 2 years. It worked out pretty well. There's a happy ending to that story.
I met her.
You probably have at one point. But yeah, a lot of time spent in the strip club. The girls get to know you. They tend to trust you as, you know, their co-worker. You aren't trying to shove a dollar up their ass every 5 seconds. So you seem like the nicest guy in the world at all times. But it's amazing the things that you get. They're not rockets. This is all I would say. It's amazing the things that you can get them to fall for. Like when a girl gets a new set of fake tits. One of the greatest things you could ever do to a new girl that has just gotten fake breasts is those look very natural. I've always heard that they don't feel natural. Is that true? And immediately they will just demand that you touch their breast. The key to this stuff is because they want you to do it all medically. You have to take your time. You have to say, well, would you mind if I just touch your right breast? And she'll say, yeah. So you grab it with your right hand, which will lead you to touch her left breast. At which point she will demand that, no, you said you were going to touch my other breast. So then you can put 2 hands on them, get a good squeeze in and everything. Girls will fall for this all the time. Being silly strippers, you know, a lot of them, they only come in 2 flavors. There's only 2 flavors of go-go girls. One are the type that were touched in the head, we'll say. Well, you've all dated this girl. A little bit crazy, a little bit off, generally kind of fun, but, you know, still quite crazy. That's what led them to be in the strip club. One such girl I used to work with for years and years was this older broad named Sophia. Just batshit crazy. Some of my friends here know Sophia. She was, in the story of my life, she would best be played by Cher with gigantic big tits. She was out of her mind, over 40, and barely holding on by a thread. At one point, I'd gone in the dressing room to get her for stage, and told her I needed her on stage immediately. And she's like, hold on, I'm brushing my hair. And she proceeded to brush her hair. All the hair that she kept, that caught in the brush, she took and put her in a bag. She's like, what are you going to use that for? She says, oh, I make pillows for my cats. Of which there were many. I've had her get into arguments with gentlemen at the club when they're like, oh, can I buy you a drink? And she's like, oh, well, I'm not thirsty right now. But you know what you could do next time you come in? You could bring a bag of cat litter for my kids. Because I don't know, our ever-growing number of cats was getting too expensive. Other things she's done, I mean, on a regular basis, you know, strip clubs, they tend to be a bit of a drug den in general. So we would do random locker checks. At one point, while doing a random locker check, first locker you go through nothing. Second locker you go through a bag of cocaine. All right, that girl's suspended for a week. Third one, underage girl, she had boots in her locker. Go to Sophia's locker, open it up. A live baby squirrel jumps out. Now, I'm not making this. A live baby squirrel jumps out. And just, you don't know how to react. I mean, you weren't expecting it by any means. And the manager tells her immediately, you know, you take a wild animal, you have to go, you're fired. And she's like, why? She legitimately could not understand why she would have to go home for any reason. And there she's teary-eyed, going, you're too strict. The other example of, she did get to come back to me at one point after that, and we let her work for a couple months, and then she disappears for about 3-4 days, doesn't show up for any of her shifts. She finally shows up to work, and she's all apologetic. I'm sorry, guys, I didn't come to work. I apologize for one of her cats died. And she said she just spent the past 2-3 days laying in bed, and she says, dude, I was so upset. All we did was lay in bed. I'm like, you and your boyfriend? And she's like, no, me and my dead cat. She laid in bed for 3 days with a dead cat, probably with her head on a pillow made out of her own hair. That's the first type of stripper, the best example I can give of the strippers that were touched in the head. The other type of strippers, aside from the touched in the head type, were the type that were probably touched below the belt. Maybe by an uncle, maybe, who knows. You can always recognize these strippers when you go to the strip club because they're the easiest ones to pick up, to bring home, to go home. The easiest way to do this is show up to the strip club wearing boots. And you'll recognize these girls because they'll come up to you and they'll be like, get a good whiff. You seem like my dad. That's the girl you want to get. That's the girl you want to get engaged. That is the most likely girl that you are going to take home and back to your. More than that. There has been a great deal of decline in the general strip club industry as of late, and it's mostly due to drugs. Not because of drugs, but the lack that girls aren't doing cocaine anymore. Strippers are not doing cocaine at all. I mean, cocaine is the perfect strip club. Everybody's hyper, they want to dance, they want to talk to guys about, you know, your life and your problems, and your terrible wife and all that stuff. There was a time back in the day where you couldn't go to a strip club and not notice that all the dancers' noses are glowing bright white under the black light. Like the heat from the sun coming off of it is so bright. But not anymore, not anymore. Now girls do pills, now girls are on opiates, they're all sitting in the corner crying, you know. They don't want to have any fun. The strip club's been way less fun. The second reason for the decline in the strip club industry has got to be, and I'm sure you folks can mostly appreciate this, internet pornography. You know, you don't have to leave your house to get your rocks off, talk to a beautiful woman over the internet, see girls doing God only knows whatever. And yeah, two girls, one cupcake. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Internet pornography, and I'm as guilty of this as anybody in the world could be. I mean, I love porn. There's nothing wrong with masturbating. Rub one out. Jamie agrees. Like, I watch so much porn, I have to use advanced interrogation techniques. I'm probably not going to come in a timely manner unless I'm waterboarding my penis. The poor fella.
I'm just saying.
I mean, a lot of women aren't okay with their boyfriends going on the internet, looking at pornography, especially at the rate that they are. They become upset. Like, especially if you've ever, like, you know, your girlfriend or wife has walked into the room while you, and you're like, oh, pretending nothing's going on, close out all the windows really quick. But see, what women don't understand is guys already know they're caught. You've been caught lube-handed. Like, what other reason would you have that much oil base or lotion? You're not, unless you're ashy or something, you have no excuse for being covered with that much lube. So the reason that they're closing all these windows and don't want you to see that there's pornography on the computer is not because they're embarrassed, but they're masturbating. We're men. We masturbate. We just don't want you to know what we're masturbating to. Because it's probably terrible. It's probably horrible. More horrible than you could possibly imagine. Best case scenario by far, is he's just masturbating to something that's not like you. It's not a girl that looks like you. It's not a girl that can compare to you. If you're a blonde, it's a brunette. If you've got cute little cupcake titties, she's got huge, gigantic, bolt-on breasts. She might have 4 of them. Who fucking? If I don't know, if you have the girl next door look, he is probably masturbating to elderly Cambodian midget amputees. God only knows what, and he doesn't want you to see what he's masturbating to. That's where the shame comes in for us. My girlfriend, on the other hand, she's pretty cool about it. Like, she doesn't care. Like, that my computer's the main computer in the house. So I see the stuff that she downloads, and it's the bulk of it involves tentacles and Asian schoolgirls and cartoons. It's strange. Yeah. But I knew she was kind of this side of kinky when I first met her. The first time I went over her house and went into her bedroom, I noticed that all her stuffed animals were sewn together like the human centipede. That was kind of and then up on one of the shelves are all her vibrators arranged smallest to largest like bars on a cell phone. So I was like, all right, well, maybe this is the girl I can work out a relationship. We've managed to be together for many years now, so it did also have a happy ending. And I've got another buddy who's got a similar girlfriend, really kinky, a lot of fun. We were at a rock concert one time, having a good old time. She's Ray Sunshine, very kinky and stuff, so they're out in the smoking area at the Electric Factory. I don't know if you've ever been, but and they're over in a corner. I thought they were having like a little private talk, but I roll up on them and I notice what they're doing. And this girl has her hands down his penis, just giving him a hand job right there in front of everybody, and nobody notices. So I sneak up behind her, and she's cool. So I grab hold of his arm, or her arm, who's down his pants, and I start moving her arm, giving him a Dutch rudder.
I told you to never tell anybody about that.
Actually, it was Ray J. Ray. That's probably what they're doing right now. Got it. But that's the type of girl that I have to date, because one, most women aren't cool with you working in a strip club. Two, my second job is at a swingers club. So, you know, at a swingers club, it gets even more easy.
Yes.
One day a week I worked there, and I've only worked there a few months, but it was an eye-opener for me, because I've never been, to a place like that. And you walk in, and they've got a food buffet laid out, which is weird. I don't want to eat from the same buffet as somebody that's just been involved in an orgy. God only knows where their hands have been, people sneezing over top of that. That's kind of weird. The first day I worked there, I just minded my business, went over, DJ'd in the corner. A few hours that went by, and everybody thinks that, you go to a swingers club, it's going to be a bunch of porn star looking people that are all like, hey, you want to fuck my wife? You want to fuck my wife, sir? But that's not the truth. That's not the truth. It's going to be a guy that looks like Tony Soprano trying to get you to fuck his wife that looks like Angela Lansbury, while some guy that looks like Steve Buscemi is jerking off in the corner. I'm not saying there's not attractive people there, but that's more close to the reality of what goes on. My first day there, I minded my business, and my boss suggested, hey, just so you can get more of a feel, why don't you go to the upstairs where everybody's still listening to the music you're playing, but go take a walk through, and just check out what's going on. And I get up there, and there is a woman getting a four-way, getting in from three guys in a sex swing. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it like bridges the gap between pornography and a children's playground. It's just swinging back and forth, getting in from three guys in a position I can only describe as the turducken. That's how much meat was involved in this. And that for me, I was just like, all right, this is a little too much. And my bosses, they're cool people and everything, but they're a little weird. Like every now and again, I played a song a couple weeks ago, and my boss came up to me and this struck me as strange. He's like, this is a song that I found very sexy as a child. That's weird. That's a weird thing to say. I understand now you own a swingers club. You would probably go off the entire time growing up. And the other weird thing about the owners of this business is that they're Jewish. So like any business, they decorate a little bit for Christmas time. But I don't know if being Jewish, they don't really understand. But they were asking me, Greg, do you think we did all right decorating for Christmas because we're not used to it? And I'm like, yeah, but I think the nativity might have been a little too much. On a regular basis, I'm just bombarded with sexuality of all sorts and types. But one of the strip clubs I work at has a gay bar downstairs, which has become a regular hangout. But I'd never been at a gay bar before. The girls like it because they'll go down there and there's not men hitting on them, and it's nice. So the first night that place had opened, we decided to go down. I'm like, all right, this will be a good time. I'm rolling in 5-6 strippers behind me. I feel pretty Mac Daddy-ish. I'm confident in my sexuality. I'm like, all right, this is going to be a good time. So I wander down. We're sitting there at the bar. I'm like, it's all right. Pretty normal. Seems normal. People play pool over in the corner. Bartender comes over, little booty shorts on, tight little shirt. Hi, I'm your bartender, Fernando. And you have to snap. Apparently that's the accent. I don't know if that's a tilde. I don't know how you spell it exactly. But I'm like, all right, little gay. Order my drinks with him. This doesn't seem any weird. Then a minute later, there'd apparently been a transsexual review there, and 5 trannies coming in and sit at the bar across from us. Just sit down. I'm like, all right, well, this is getting kind of gay. I'm a little uncomfortable with the trannies. So I'm going to go over and play some pool. Go over, lay my quarters down. 2 guys playing there, both fairly butch-looking guys. One finishes off a shot just as I lay my quarters down, knocks in the 8-ball. The second guy turns over and is like, oh, that was a good shot. Well, a bet's a bet. And whips his dick out and puts it on the table. Just a monster, just a hammer right there on the table. And all I can think is, fuck, I'm next up on this table. I don't know whether I should throw the game and try to show this guy my dick, or if I should try to win as hard as I can and see this guy's dick.
I've seen it. Play the game.
All right, folks, I think that's the end of my set.